as when it comes to Ozempic, because we see people who use it, is there a certain time period where you're supposed to come off of it? Like, how long are you supposed to be on it? Because I feel like once you find something that helps you lose weight, I feel like you have to continuously use that. And then once you come off, it's like when you do diet pills, once you come off of them, all of a sudden the weight comes back. This is Girl Take Note, a podcast for women who are looking to turn their dreams into reality. Hi, Dr. Serina. Welcome to Girl Take Note. How are you doing?
Hi, good to be here.
Yeah, this is good. I'm always saying I'm glad to have certain conversation, but this conversation we're going to have today is like on everybody's mind. Like women's health, women's weight management is huge. I struggle with myself in order all the stuff that's out there and being able to clear up some things. But before we jump into any of those conversations, kind of share with us a little bit about your journey into medicine, in particular, what inspired you to go into family medicine.
Okay, so everybody knows I'm a family medicine board certified physician, and wanted to be that since I was in the 8th grade. A little bit of backstory about myself: sickle cell disease runs in my family. So my mom's 9 siblings, all of them have either the trait or the disease. My oldest aunt had the disease, and so growing up watching her go through that inspired me to go into healthcare, because I would go to the hospital with her and nobody looked like me.
Yeah.
Right. And I hear that all the time amongst my patients. And so that kind of pushed me into the realm of healthcare. And what pushed me in the realm of family medicine is the fact that I wanted to take care of people from different ages, from babies all the way to older people, right? Elderly, because all of us are going to get there at one point. And I think you see different disease processes in each age group that you can learn from. And we all go through that at some point in our lives. And so I wanted to be that family doctor that people could come to and be able to give them some peace and education and take care of their conditions across the board, not just one particular body system. I also like the fact that family medicine has a lot of different avenues that you can go into. So you can be a consultant that does things, and we do weight management, as we're going to talk about, women's health. I still do a lot of pap smears, a lot of women's health things as well. So I like the fact that I can do different niches in family medicine. So that's what kind of pushed me to that point.
Yeah. So crazy. I interviewed a CEO of an app where it's called Longevity, and it's all about menopause, women going through the change of life. And they talked about how far behind we are still when it comes to women's health.
Yes.
Because men's body and health was like way more important than felt like, I guess, and where we're still like behind the curve. And not only that, when it comes to Black women, like African-American people like us, they're even further behind I feel like when it comes to us. And I'm saying to myself, we are in this is 2024. Why are we still dealing with this in 2024?
I know. So when you think about, it's exactly what you said. So women weren't chosen to be test subjects a lot in the past, right? Everything wasn't equal before. And so even just starting there, so women weren't represented in those tests, those research studies. And so that we couldn't really apply it, right? We call it evidence-based medicine. We couldn't apply those research methods to women clinically, right? Because we weren't represented in those studies.
Yeah.
And then you add on Black women being in those studies, and that's even fewer number, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why, so technically we can apply some of those things to women of color, but we should have been included in those studies at that time, especially some of those monumental studies. Let's even talk about BMI, right? BMI, that number isn't based on African-American bodies.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you're telling us to go by this number when it's not based on our body types.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like little things like that. And so, like you said, it is behind. I hate that it's behind.
Yeah.
But we can sit up here all day and talk about the disproportionate things that we see in medicine all the time. From against women, A, and then against people of color, B.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the goal would be, if we get more representation in those spaces, we should start seeing more things, right? That's why you're seeing this Black maternal medicine, deaths is starting to kind of come to the forefront. Why? Because you have more Black female providers who saw those things.
Yes.
Right? Those things were always there.
Yeah.
It's just becoming more relevant because you have more people in the spaces that care about those things, giving notice to those things.
Yeah. And I always find it so unsettling when we talk about how I use Black doctors, how the fact that, doctors don't listen to us when we have issues, when we feel like something is happening in our bodies. You know what I mean? And a lot of times I get shot because a few years ago I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I had a breast reduction, and that's the way I found out. And I had said to my doctor, well, why didn't I know I had it when I just got a mammogram 6 months prior? I'm not even 6 months, few months prior, maybe 2-3 months.
Right.
And so I was so shocked by that. And I'm like, how do certain things like that happen? And I know this is probably not what we were going to talk about today, but just thinking about medicine, think about how we look at our body, how sometimes we have to be our own health advocate for ourselves, because that just kind of blew my mind when I'm like, we're so far ahead. We've come a lot farther with medicine and being able to detect things. And so I believed, how was I able to not know that I had breast cancer until I got a breast reduction? It just really just kind of
shouldn't have happened, right? But like I know for my patients, like a lot of my younger Black female patients that are under 40, I'm pushing kind of. I've had about 2 or 3 patients that I found under 40 that have had breast cancer, and so now that I'm starting to see that a little bit more. I really encourage my patients under 40 to get mammograms, right? And if they come in and like, well, Dr. Lewis, why you say that? Like, they don't recommend that. 40, 45, that's what they recommend. But I'm telling you what I see, right? As a Black female doctor and a Black female myself, that will be getting them under 40. And so, as you said, the representation matters. Finding things that a person normally sees matters, right? Because if you apply it, everybody is told to get it at 40, 45, but you're not everybody. Right, we have to look more at personalized medicine, right? So let's say you had a history of like cystic breasts. That should have pushed your doctor to look at mammograms and ultrasounds a little bit more for you specifically, because it's not one size fit all, right?
Yes.
And so maybe it would have been found, but I'm glad they found it.
Yes,
I'm
glad they found it too. So it was really a blessing for that to happen. I want to get into, because I want to spend a good amount of our time talking about weight management. It is a thing that we listen, I'm sitting here living proof. It is the one thing that as women we struggle with the most. And first of all, let me ask you, why do you think we struggle with that the most as women? Why do you think we're always going through this kind of yo-yo type of thing? And I feel like always looking for the easy way out when it comes to weight loss.
You hit the nail on the head. Everybody sees. I do think social media did not help. Let's start there.
My God.
Because people see an image like, oh, I want to be like that. I want my body to look like that.
Yes.
And don't see the backstory of how that person got there. A lot of those social media influencers actually have time to work out and eat how they're supposed to eat. They might promote Ozempic and some weight loss stuff. There's like the 30-30-30 rule. That's a big thing now too. But they're doing the work behind the scenes. But the average person not seeing that work, right? So they think they just went to the gym and was shooting threes immediately. And that's not what was happening.
I just ate a salad, so I should have lost 10 pounds today.
Exactly, right? It's the discipline part. And for women, our hormones affect us, right? So like I do Orange Theory, and it's always funny. Like I get so jealous of the men in the class, because it's like in 60 minutes they lost 1,000 calories, right?
Oh my
and all
God.
the women, we might have lost 500, and I'm running the same way as them, and I'm sweating the same way as them. But men, it's easier for them to lose the weight, right? Our bodies are taught to hold on to that weight, so we almost have to kind of go against the grain and do a little more. Do a little more cardio. Like I have a lot of patients, they're like, well, I worked out 2 days this week, Dr. Lewis. I'm like, that ain't enough, girl. That ain't enough. Especially now that you're over 30, right?
Yes.
And your body is undergoing changes. And it goes changes in your 30s, and it undergoes changes in your 40s. Right? So getting into a habit of doing more cardio, whether that be running or walking on a treadmill on an incline or doing your little Peloton, getting the heart rate up. 150 minutes a week or more, which is what's recommended, will help you, right? And then 2 times a week of doing like strength training, right? So that's what the ACA recommends. Because a lot of people are not even doing that.
A lot of people are not. And that's
what
what I mean.
I'm losing weight. I want to lose weight.
We want to lose it the fast way. But I was going to ask that question too, because I know I'm in my 40s. Well, I'm in my late 40s. So I know when I was younger, like maybe in my early 30s, really in my 20s, I was able to lose weight so fast. So fast. Like I could lose weight within a week. right?
Mhm.
Now, being close to menopause, well, I'm in the menopause. I always feel like I'm not, but I am. I'm in the menopause range. And because, I always think that, and I had this conversations before with other people on the podcast, I'm always thinking, oh, menopause is like, oh, you hit this age, then you get it. And my doctor was clear to me like, no, it is a range. Okay. And you're in that range. You don't just hit a certain age. All of a sudden, I got menopause. So I'm in the menopause range. And I just noticed that now when I try to lose weight, like, oh my God, it takes me maybe 14 days, I feel like, to lose a pound. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's gotten so much harder for me. And I feel like I have to work so much harder than I did when I was younger.
All of us feeling it. I mean, I'm behind you a little bit. Not that far behind. I'm about to be 35. But when I feel like after I hit 30, it was like, woof. I found myself having to do a lot more, paying for a lot more weight training programs and weight loss programs to make things happen. So I think that's what attracted people to these GLP-1 agonists. It was like, I can do my once a week injectable, and there is benefits to them, right? There are definitely benefits to using them with diet, also with exercise. That's the best outcomes.
And I think that's the key, because I think a lot of people, so I have friends who go to their weight loss doctors, but they're always going. It's like a few months, they lose the weight, and next thing you know, they go back again. And I'm always like, is there a point, do you get to a certain point where it's like, okay, maybe that particular thing just doesn't work for you anymore? Or should you not look at these weight loss drugs as something like you use like consistently? Should it be like, okay, I'm going to use it this one time, I'm going to drop the weight, like you said, pair it with working out, eating right, and I should be able to be good. But I have friends who go back almost like every few months.
I know. I have patients like that as well. And then eventually I get to the point where I'm like, well, I'm not going to keep prescribing it if you're not going to maintain off the weight, right? Because every medication has side effects.
Yes.
Right. Now, the biggest side effect for these are like belly GI disturbances, or like diarrhea, nausea, vomiting. But there can be some severe side effects as well. My practice, we had a patient that had elevated liver enzymes in reaction to Ozempic. Our practice wasn't giving her Ozempic. She was going to a weight loss clinic, as you said, but she had elevated liver enzymes in reaction to that. They also have that black box warning of thyroid cancer, right? So that's always there. So really, like you said, trying to get off of them and maintaining is better than just, I'm going to stay on it and just stay on it forever. It's like, no, we got to work on. That's why it's good to be with a provider, work with a physician or a healthcare provider that can help manage you with labs and doing all things, nutrition discussions and everything. It really should be a whole package, not just, I'm going to give you this shot and you can go on your way.
Yeah. Is there more of like a holistic approach that maybe some doctors recommend, or maybe you recommend to help with your weight management so it could be sustainable?
Exactly. Right. Because I mean, obviously I'm a physician, so I do believe in medications in moderation. Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't think you should be overly taking too many medications. And a weight loss medication is still a medication. So if we could do a holistic approach, then that's better. Right. But the goal is to lose the weight, because increased weight gain has its own detrimental obesity, increased risk of like diabetes, cholesterol, heart disease does increase with weight gain.
Yeah.
Right. So then you open up yourself to a whole nother world of trouble. So that's a lot of my patients' retort is like, well, I'm trying to lose weight so I don't end up with those things, Dr. Lewis.
Yeah.
So I understand. And that's why I don't go against them. I think they have their place.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ozempic.
Okay.
It's a really, really hot topic right now, because we see a lot of celebrities that have used it. Oprah, whether she said it or not.
Exactly.
We know she's used it because she's down the smallest I've ever seen her. And what can you tell us about Ozempic? Because from the little research I did, they say it's mainly for patients with diabetes. So what can you tell us about Ozempic? Give us some good information on that.
So Ozempic is a part of a class of drugs called the GLP-1 agonists, right? And so specifically semaglutide for Ozempic. And what GLP-1 agonists do, to break it down in layman's terms, they trigger insulin release, and that reduces like glucose production in the liver. And so it makes you feel full. And so obviously when you're feeling more full, there's a calorie deficit. And in that calorie deficit, you lose the weight.
Yeah.
Now, a little bit more with Ozempic. It's a once a week injectable. I know everybody kind of knows that now from the media. It comes with a pen that you can take with or without food. And like you said, it's FDA approved for diabetes. But the side effect, the good side effect, is the weight loss.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing it does is lower the risk of major adverse cardiovascular events, which is big for us health people. So that's such things as heart attack, stroke, cardiovascular related deaths. Ozempic also has some potential like kidney benefits as well. So the weight loss for Ozempic is the side effect. It's the side effect.
Oh, I didn't
That's
know that.
what makes it different.
I didn't know that.
But that's what makes it different from Wegovy. So Wegovy is FDA approved for weight loss. But also why Wegovy has ran out of supply. Because when people can't get Ozempic, they get Wegovy, but they're both semaglutide. Both once a week. Wegovy is also clinically indicated for adolescents, 12 and up, where Ozempic is not. Okay. So when your doctor goes to try to order it, some categories they kind of look at is, do you have a BMI of 30 or greater? Or do you have a BMI of 27 with some of the chronic diseases you and I just talked about, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol.
Yeah.
So you have Ozempic, you have Wegovy, and you have also two other ones called Trulicity and Victoza. Okay. And so Trulicity, once again, is a GLP-1 agonist, but instead of semaglutide, is dulaglutide, also once a week injectable. And just like Ozempic, it also lowers the cardiovascular risk and has that weight loss side effect as well. And then the only other difference with Victoza is it's liraglutide, and it's a once daily injection. So a lot of people don't like that one as much because it's basically like taking insulin, right? You do insulin every day.
Yeah.
So then you would be doing Victoza every day. And then the new hot one is something called Mounjaro, which is a similar GLP-1 agonist, GIP agonist, which also makes you feel full. But that one is a little hard to get covered by insurance. So those are like the 5. Ozempic is just the one that's like the most Ozempic because of the celebrities.
Yeah.
Lizzo too. Lizzo, I know you've seen her lose some weight.
Oh yeah. I did.
So that's kind of a quick little, to not go into too much detail, overview of those 5.
Why do you think Ozempic has become so popular? Because I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that it is the weight loss is a side effect of it versus that's the main thing is used for. You know what I mean? So that's very good to know. Why has it become so popular, and how can doctors prescribe it for patients who, some of them weren't even that, I don't think they were that big, to be honest with you. Right. But how can they get it for those patients where if they don't fall into the criteria, what it needs to be used for?
So some patients, as you said, they appear like they don't need it, or their BMIs are 27 or less, right? They're able to get it through maybe doing like a pre-diabetes diagnosis, or you have a lot of people who are smaller in stature, but then they have high cholesterol, right?
Yeah.
Especially minorities.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of us have it genetically.
Yeah.
So sometimes certain people's insurance will allow them to get Ozempic through those type of diagnoses and not necessarily having type 2 diabetes diagnosis.
Okay.
So that's how they're getting it, or doing like a compounding pharmacy, meaning that their doctor has a deal with the pharmacy to create the Ozempic for them, and then they get it that way. So it's almost like the generic version of Ozempic. That's how they're getting it.
That's how they're getting it. Because I'm just like, so many people are using it. And now since we see them use it, and like the everyday person, now things, like I said, when it comes to weight loss, we're always looking for the quick results. Either before it used to be like the lap band surgery, a lot of people's getting that, but that's much for bigger people. But it's like whatever we can do to get it quickly. We're going to go get the BBL. We're going to go get the liposuction, right? Whatever we can do, we're going to get it quickly. And now here comes Ozempic. And people only talk about the weight loss. People don't talk about what are some of the not so good side effects of it. Because I can't believe that all these people that's using it, that it's like, my theory is always like, something's going to happen to you later. I don't know what, but something's going to happen to you later. And then kind of tell us, how long is a person supposed to be on Ozempic? Or is it something you could have to consistently be on?
I didn't hear that question.
Okay.
Say it one more
Tell us
time.
when it comes to Ozempic, because we see people who use it,
Okay.
is there a certain time period where you're supposed to come off of it? Like, how long are you supposed to be on it? Because I feel like once you find something that helps you lose weight, I feel like you have to continuously use that. And then once you come off, it's like when you do diet pills, once you come off of them, all of a sudden the weight comes back because you're back to eating normal, but you don't have this thing in your system of helping you burn or helping you not be hungry.
So we normally do I recommend 6 months to a year.
Okay.
Because with Ozempic, you're titrating up per milligram. So like a half a milligram every time you go see your doctor, right? So if you're doing 0.25 milligram 1 month, the next month you should be doing 0.5. The next month you should be doing 1. The next month you're doing 2.
Oh,
2 is the max. 2 is the max. Maxed. So most people max out at the 4 or 5 month mark.
Oh,
so really in that 6 month mark to 6 to 9 months, really, the person should be about where they're going to be. Right? Because I think sometimes people think it's a miracle drug where it's like, I'm going to lose 100 pounds on it. And they lose 40 and be upset. But it's like, everybody not going to lose 100 pounds on Ozempic. Right? So, and if you don't lose 100 pounds, that's okay. But maybe getting to that 40 pounds, taking that as a small win. And there's work on, there's other weight loss medications that are out there that we can also talk about to get you to the next 10. Or if you need to lose like 100, 200 pounds, that's when lap-band surgeries, gastric sleeve surgeries come into play.
Yeah.
Depending on what your goal is.
Yeah.
But some of the side effects are like loose skin, right? Because the loose skin is a big one. So what we're seeing is people have all these like things they want to get done after they lose the weight. They want a tummy tuck, and they want this, and they want a skin removal, and they want that. And those things are considered plastic cosmetic procedures. So people's insurance are not covering it. So you lose the weight, and it's like, the insurance paid for the medication. You lost the weight. Now you're walking around with extra skin because it's the insurance is not going to cover the skin removal and the tightening, right? Because that can range in price. Then the lowest I've seen somebody quote me was like $5,000, and it goes up from there. Wow. Because it's considered a plastic surgery procedure. So then I don't think people don't think about that.
No. I don't think about that. And we do know, like you said, it's not covered by insurance. Even with Ozempic, it's an expensive drug to use. Not only just for your insurance part, but even for your portion of it. I feel like it's an expensive drug to use for so many people who want to use it. So when you have some patients come to you with their weight loss management, and what do you think are some of the common misconceptions you think they have when it comes to weight loss?
That insurance is so the common misconceptions about weight loss is it's going to happen. It's supposed to happen quickly.
Yeah.
Weight loss, that's the problem right there. Let's just start there. I think Ozempic has really got people thinking, I'm supposed to drop 20 pounds every month.
Yeah.
Right? And technically, naturally, you're supposed to only drop a pound a week. Let that sink in.
A pound a week.
Naturally.
A pound a week? That's
and
it?
People dropping like 20 pounds in a month.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying that the natural way, right? We're talking about natural, because I do about natural too, homeopathic. Really shouldn't be losing that much weight in that short amount of time. Because like you said, we still are learning the consequences of these things.
Yeah.
Right? Now that more people are on these GLP-1 agonists.
Yeah.
So I try to encourage people to do like more natural things, watching their diet, doing things like apple cider vinegar, which is a little remedy. I'm sure you've heard of that, to kind of reduce glucose control. Cinnamon also reduces glucose control. Doing things to regulate the fat storage in your body. So our liver actually regulates our fat. So making sure your liver health is good, i.e. not drinking as much, not drinking alcohol as much to affect your liver. Or like taking like red yeast rice, doing like milk thistle, things that'll give you good liver health.
Yeah.
Right? To make your body not want to retain the fat. Right? Because that visceral fat, that what we call central obesity in the belly, in the abdomen, actually does increase your risk of diabetes. So those are little things that you can do naturally to lose the weight. And I think people overlook those things.
Yeah.
Those aren't really misconceptions, but I think the biggest misconception is you got to lose the weight fast.
Yeah. That's probably my biggest misconception.
Or doing these like really restrictive diets. Like I'm going to do a real restrictive diet and drop all this weight, and then it come right back. Because a lot of that weight loss was water weight.
Yeah.
Right? So we actually encourage to not do restrictive diets.
The restrictive diets is like, I'm not gonna lie. It's what I
Everybody
do.
does them. I've
I
done them.
does it. I do it. I'm sitting here talking to you, saying to myself, like, before I got on this podcast interview with you, I'm like, I got to go ahead and do that 7-day cleanse again where I'm only doing
Exactly.
liquids and go ahead and get down 20 pounds in a week.
Exactly. You got the weather, the sun coming out. You got a wedding you in,
Yes.
or you going to the beach. Oh, I know.
How do you bring a patient back down to reality, telling them, okay, that's not the way to do it? Because like you said, social media has really ingrained in us that you can lose weight quickly. I mean, people are out there promoting it. You can lose weight quickly. Do this, cut your diet, eat this way, work out this way, take this with your food. I mean, it's so much misinformation out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're visual people. So we're looking at all these people who are working out every day, right? Like you said, we only seen snippets of it. They might, like I said, they might be the people that don't have real jobs. And you know what I mean? They can do this all day long and have a private chef and have people come to their house. How do you bring someone back down to earth and give them the reality of what weight loss management is?
So I start kind of telling them, like, just keep a little food diary about what you're eating, right?
Yeah.
And like your portions, right? And always encouraging my patients to do like small wins. So then it's like, okay, instead of it being like, I'm gonna try to use 30 pounds in a month, it should be like, okay, I'm gonna cut back doing 3 carbs every day and doing 1 carb every day.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes, right? Because it's 21 days to break a habit. Let's be honest here. A lot of people's eating is they habit.
Yeah.
Their difficulty, their relationship with food, snacking, partying and doing all you can eat brunches on weekends. Oh, I'm in DC. I know.
We
we
want a good
That's
brunch.
what we do.
Yes.
And then we think about I got to lose that brunch off another day, as opposed to moderation, right? Because if you do moderation, you could do those things. I'm not saying don't do those things, because I'm a bruncher myself.
Yeah.
But then, like, you're saying like, oh, I got to do my 7-day cleanse. I got to hurry up.
Yeah.
Start doing it earlier. So then you're doing that 1 pound a week, as opposed to you trying to lose 14 pounds in 7 days.
Yeah.
Which, you will get it off, I'm sure, through some restrictive way. And then as soon as that one event is over, you gain it all back.
You gain it all back.
Right? Yep. So just being realistic with them about starting sooner. So if I know they're coming up on something they really want to do, we start their weight management plan earlier on. Like I have a lot of Black female patients that are in their 30s and 40s, 50s, 60s, right? And I have a patient, she comes to mind because she's like, my daughter's getting married in the summertime. I need to look snatched for this dress. I need to look snatched for this wedding.
Yeah.
So we already have been talking about her food diet, what's really good, what she can and cannot eat to lose weight, what's really healthy, drinking water appropriately, flushing your body of toxins, watching your sugar intake. A lot of people drink a lot of sodas. Sodas get people, right? So doing sugar-free sodas. I know people are like, sugar-free doesn't taste as good, but it gives you the carbonated portion, right? Doing your fruits and vegetables, right? Fruits and vegetables. I have a lot of patients that like the Weight Watchers app because it's like a point system.
Yeah.
Shout out to Weight Watchers. I hope they call me for my shit.
I know, right?
But yeah, it's a point system. But I used it myself too. When I was getting ready last year for my wedding, and I found it really helpful because fruits and vegetables and tofu and protein was 0 points. So I mean, you can sit there and eat
as much as
carrots all day long because it's 0 points.
Yeah.
But then my wonderful Chick-fil-A milk, cookies and cream milkshake was 15 points. And then you only get 25 points for the day. And I'm like, daggone it, I done ate all my points with one milkshake and, for lunch. So just being my patient's advocate and being their partner and not trying to tell them what to do, but come alongside them. A lot of people now say how to eat. We don't like to be told what to do,
Yeah.
We want to eat what we want. I want to eat what I want. You're not going to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So I found for me, it's easier to just be their partner in it and remind them of their goals, be their mirror, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm your doctor. I'm not, I want to be your friend in a way, but I'm also not your friend. And you told me you wanted to lose, 10 pounds in 2 months.
Yeah.
We're going to make that happen.
Yeah.
Healthy.
You got to stick to it. Yeah.
So you got to stick to
healthy
it. Healthy
way.
Right?
And like I
Mhm.
said, with the misinformation, because you mentioned something about fruits and how Weight Watchers is like, hey, you can eat as much as you want. But then you have
Mhm.
people on the other side tell you, hey, don't eat so much fruit because they have so much high in sugar. That's
Right.
what I mean by it is so much information, and be able to have someone like you that can kind of cut through all the information,
Mhm.
give you what is real, give you a real path, because we're out there trying to be our own doctors because we Google everything
Mhm.
and we think
Mhm.
can tell us everything we need to know, or either TikTok or social media can just tell us what we need to know, versus going to someone who has went to school for this, studied this, deal with patients with it. This is the way you're supposed to go.
Yes. I'm all about you educating yourself and,
Yes.
but I love when my patients like come to me like, hey, I saw this on TikTok. But see, they don't
Yes.
do that. They're like, I saw this on TikTok. Look at this video on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with this? Right. So
Yeah.
having somebody that has that background knowledge
Mm-hmm.
to be able to give you facts, it's good.
Yes.
Not just taking it for face value for somebody that's not even like licensed or something from TikTok and then like running with it. And that's like the truth, the gospel truth.
That's
Right?
what we believe. Yeah.
Or like WebMD, because everybody love WebMD.
Oh yeah. Nah, I'm not gonna lie.
Those things
I've
have
used a
their
WebMD
place.
two
Yeah.
times myself.
But even those people are protecting themselves. Trust me, at the bottom of WebMD and at the little bitty small print of them TikTok videos, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, but I am not a healthcare professional. This is not
Yes.
healthcare advice. See, that's the part that people don't read.
Mm-mm.
And
We
so
just see
then
the
it's like,
video.
oh, right. But that person has it in there somewhere. Even that
Mm.
it's probably on the side of their little TikTok at the bottom of the information, like, I am not a licensed da 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 d. Right?
Yes.
So it is always interesting what we see. And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you can eat fruits, but doing fruits with less sugar. Right?
Yes.
So there are fruits that have less sugar. Cantaloupe, honeydew
Yeah.
lemon,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the berries, like blueberries and things, have less sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Watermelon, even, because it's
I
mostly
love myself a good watermelon too.
water. It's water. So you can do a lot of that.
Oh,
You can do a lot of that,
yeah.
right?
That's good to know.
Then obviously balancing out with some vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't fruit all day. We're not children. Like I know my pediatric patients, they don't like to do veggies. Right? But I tell their parents, like, mix it up in something with a good fruit, right? Do
Yeah.
peach with squash and some other thing, mix it
Yeah.
up so then they don't know the difference. Then and eventually they'll tell you what their favorite fruit, vegetable is. Oh, I like green beans or whatever. You got to make it
Yeah.
fun for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what it has to come to, because with weight loss, sometimes it can seem like such a chore. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But if I'm able to really get to something and stick, because I think we get motivated once we start seeing ourselves lose the weight. So we get motivated. Once I start seeing myself lose the weight, I get motivated to sell, like, all right, I got to keep this up. But there's some way along the path, you get there. And I've always talked about this with my friends. We're like, we seem to get to that place where we lose the weight. It's the maintenance part that becomes difficult. What are some of the things you could recommend to maintain the weight once you lose it?
Yeah. So continue to track your calories every so often. It's going to be important. They don't have to be like so religious. Like, I have to take 400. This was 400 calories. I can't eat.
Yeah.
But just every now and then, being aware. That's what goes back to that food diary that we talked about a little bit too. You're kind of aware of the foods that make you gain weight. And when you know that, you learn not to eat as much of that. Like, I love me some pasta. I am a pasta eating person. Okay. But I love doing pasta with seafood, which a lot of my Italian friends will be like, oh, that's blasphemous. But doing more of the seafood and less of the pasta.
Yeah.
Right? Because the seafood is low calorie.
Yeah.
Right? And treat myself. Maybe I do 2 days a week of pasta. And then the other day is a week of minimal pasta or like low carb. Right?
Yes.
That gives me the maintenance. Watching our alcohol intake. Maybe instead of doing, I know some people that drink alcohol throughout the week and the weekends. And, because they go to happy hours and then they go into an event for their job and they have a little open bar there. And then before you know it, because women technically aren't supposed to drink over 7 drinks. Well, really for women it's 4 and men is 7.
That's a day or that's in a week?
In a week, honey, in a week. So men is 4. This is the recommended.
Yeah.
Men is 7, women is 4.
Wow.
So think about how many times people go over that just at one bottomless brunch.
I mean, what? feel like a bottle of wine is probably like 3 or 4 glasses.
Exactly. So
If you think
minimizing your
about it.
alcohol intake can help your maintenance though, right? Because like you said, that one bottle is 4 glasses. So
Yeah.
if you're cutting back and only doing maybe a bottle in the weekend or a champagne, which is lower calorie than the weekend, that can help maintenance.
Yeah.
Getting involved in things that will help you want to stay motivated. So like I go to Orange Theory. I've been going for 2 years. Everybody know me. When I'm not there, they will be like, where you been at? So it holds accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability part, right? Because you even said it. Me and my friend said this, and then the maintenance part is hard because people stop holding themselves or getting somebody to hold them accountable.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Whether that's your gym partner, your personal trainer, your doctor, your best friend that you always work out with. Shout out to my best friend, Jelana. We used to work out together all the time. But holding each other accountable. Hey, it's Friday. We work out all week. Where you been?
Yeah.
Right? Because the eating part is only one part of it. We already know the working out part is a whole nother part.
Yeah. And it's so easy to fall back into those old habits.
So you know, easy. 1 week you might have been on a work trip. Then you know that next week you got to really get it in. But that will give you the maintenance. So I'm not taking away nothing that you love to do, but find something that you love to do that's active and bust a move. People got running clubs and Peloton clubs and all kind of stuff. Boxing. I got a patient, she loves to go to boxing, her homegirl. That's still building up your strength and working, that's in the way, cardio. So many options.
Yeah. But you're right. Being able to still be held accountable during that maintenance process is key. And you're right. If you keep the food diary or if you do like a weight loss or tracker, you do know the foods that help you lose weight versus the ones that you shouldn't eat. You do know, you do learn that way. So that is a good thing to do. Because I think, like I said, every time I get to that place, I'm kind of like, oh, I can have this now because, I'm in maintenance mode. So I can have, some French fries because it's not going to hurt me.
Right.
But then it's like, I want more the next day. And then all of a sudden now I'm eating French fries and I'm back to where I used to be. So I'm trying not 100%. To go back and be able to maintain the weight. Can you tell me, what do you see new in the weight management space that you believe is really going to kind of change the landscape of it, or that you think maybe you're excited about to see come about?
So, this is not so much to do with weight management, but more so to do with tracking your glucose, which is important because weight can affect your glucose, tolerance. Yep. They just came out with a controlled glucose monitor that you could buy over the counter. FDA just approved that March 5th, I believe. And so you can track your glucose, right? So let's say I want a piece of cake.
Yeah.
And your glucose go up to 300 and 400. You're like, okay, that cake. Can't do that too often.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to help. Glucose controlling itself can help people lose weight. Right, because you're almost watching. Goes back to what you said about go back to what we said about the fruits. If you know certain fruits have a whole bunch of sugar, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I can't have that all the time. If you know your glucose spike when you eating your little tub of ice cream and then you drink a glass of pina colada and then you did something else, you'll start watching your glucose control more and then watching your glucose control more and noticing that, oh, when I work out, my glucose management is better. I see my trends. That also helps contribute to weight. So I'm very excited about that because a lot of people couldn't get controlled glucose monitors with their insurance unless they had diabetes.
Oh,
insurance won't cover it.
Yeah.
And so then insurance companies try to get smart and say, well, you can't get it covered unless you are on insulin. So I have a lot of patients who have prediabetes that want to keep track of their glucose and keep track of their numbers that they couldn't do that. Right. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about there are 2 oral GLP-1 agonists that are kind of starting to be more on the scene. So similar to Ozempic, they're still semaglutide. One is called Rybelsus and one is called Saxenda. But they also help you lose weight as well. But they're oral tablets that you take daily. So for people that don't like injections, there's the oral option.
I couldn't definitely do no injections.
And then Novo Nordisk is also this. They got something in the works coming. That's another oral weight loss medication that's going to change the game. I don't want to get too much because it's still in trials and things like that. But so some things coming out that I'm looking forward to with respect to weight management. And also my diabetics will be happy because at one point my diabetics, a lot of them couldn't get their medication because they were fighting with other people because people were taking Ozempic for weight loss. They weren't diabetic.
Yeah.
So I,
Yeah.
as a doctor, I was hearing that side of the complaints. Like, I can't get my
Yeah.
meds. You know,
That
my
is
A1C is
something.
10. I need my
Yeah.
medication.
You don't think
So,
about that part. You know what I mean? For those
no,
people who actually need it versus those who are just really using it for weight loss.
exactly. So imagine, you know, being
Yeah.
your parent or something that needs it. So I had a lot of patients who were complaining about that. Like, my mom needs her Ozempic and she can't get it. This pharmacy and this pharmacy and this pharmacy and the pharmacy way over there are out of Ozempic.
Yeah.
So just,
Wow.
you know, just the human part, right? Respecting that somebody might actually need it because they have a condition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know you want to lose the weight, but this person's diabetic.
Yeah.
You know,
I
so
make
just
sure, I'm
little
gonna make
stuff like that.
sure that I tell people that, Ozempic, the weight loss is just a side effect of it. Because I don't think people know that part. I think people just believe that, it's supposed to help you lose weight. I don't think they know that at all. Because you don't hear them talk about that as a piece of it. You don't hear them talk about it as a side effect. You just hear them talk
Because
about,
that's not the pretty
it's just
side.
weight loss.
It's not the pretty side. It's not the,
Yes.
the glamorous side. But that's the benefit of being that's the benefit of being an MD. I was like, let me just expel some myths a little bit.
Yeah.
And hopefully encourage people to go see their primary care doctors or get a primary care doctor. Because that's another thing. A lot of people don't have one.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people have just like an OBGYN or something else. You know what I mean? Because we're looking at our OBGYN as our primary care, but I have a primary care.
Good.
That stays on me and doesn't sugarcoat it for me either. Okay.
And
sometimes
I'm the same way.
Nervous.
Ask my patients. They was asking me, that's like, what you gonna be talking about on her podcast? You gonna be giving it to them raw like you give it to us? I was like, yes.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
But those that are going to definitely look out for you, take care of you when it comes to your health. And so I like that kind of doctor because, like I said, my doctor doesn't sugarcoat it. If I come in there because I have blood pressure and my blood pressure is high, first of all, I tell them my blood pressure is high because I know you're going to tell me something. So I'm already stressed out before I came in here. That's why my blood pressure is up. Expecting, I want to hear good news, but
you're gonna be like my patient. She always tell my staff, like, I know Dr. Lewis about to rip me a new one.
Exactly. So it's like, okay.
If you being scared of your doctor a little bit gonna put you in the shape, then that's the right doctor for you, right? Because
it does.
So long I feel like a lot of doctors didn't. They just hear this medication and get out.
Yeah.
But I feel like minorities, we need a little bit more gentle handling. Like, you need to do this. Like, this is why you need to do it. Like, I am just like you. This is why we need to do this.
Yeah.
And so explaining that, I think I've had more patients open up and be more willing to try things. But I also look at my patients like my family. So it's like, I'm going to tell you the same thing I would tell my parents, which is this.
I know that's right. Exactly. Which is what we need to hear. We're going to go ahead. We're going to end the show. But before we end the show, what is it that you're excited about? Like, what's happening with you in medicine? What things are next for you? What is the next thing for you that you're excited about?
Yes. So I am opening up my own practice. Yay. So I will be taking new patients. Thank you.
I was just about to ask that too. Yeah.
So CP Modern Primary Care. It's a membership-based practice. But I'll also be doing weight management. Because that's what I love to do. Okay. And hormonal replacement therapy.
I gotta get in
it.
Okay.
And so I will be opening in Catonsville, Maryland. So my website is almost done. So you can call my number at 410-929-1335 if you want to find out more information. You can also set a meet and greet with me at Calendly, just http://calendly.com/CPModernPrimaryCare.com. You can always Google me. I'm currently at a practice in Columbia, but I'm starting my own, so I'll be leaving there soon. But I would love to connect with, let's meet and greet. Let's see if it's a fit.
Yes.
Right. And then we can go from there. But I'm very excited to be bringing a young Black female perspective to some of these areas and spaces where there aren't a lot of young Black female professionals at.
I think that's
and I'll just leave it at that. Yes. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I think that's gonna be awesome. We're gonna make sure that we have everything for people to get in touch with you down in our show notes and our YouTube description as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Serina, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I've learned a lot already that I can go tell people, but I can't wait for this episode to come out so people can hear it and listen to it and get all this good information.
Yes, and I'm gonna find out what their blood pressure is next time too.
Ooh, girl, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. You're gonna scream at me. I'm on medication. It's being controlled. It's being handled.
You see, I'm like,
Oh my goodness. Listen, well, I had a great time interviewing today. You got to definitely come back on the show again so we can talk more about women's health and just get more into the conversation especially when you open your new practice, want to come bring you back so you can talk about having a new practice and getting people in. Well, guys, listen. Yes, yes. All right, guys, I am Shawnee Sanders. This is the Girl Take Note, and I will talk to you next time.